Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Matt. We're bringing the heat today. We got some good stuff for you.
Hey guys, I'm Tim. If you don't know anything about MrMaple.com, we're a family mail order business. We ship trees directly to your door anywhere in the United States. Make sure you subscribe to our weekly emails because we add 10 new trees every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. We're going to talk about 10, but wait, there's actually 20. So if you subscribe to our email, you'll figure out the other 10.
Guys, we've got some fun trees for you. This is the 10 at 10 for May 9th of 2023. Now, if you're in North Carolina, you know why it's called May. It may rain, it may snow, it may be cold. We're getting warm soon, but guys, we've got some fun in tow for you. We are less than weeks away from the Mr. Maple Festival.
Guys, our annual open house is on Memorial Day Monday itself here in East Flat Rock, North Carolina. Make sure if you don't have your hotel yet, go ahead and get it so that way you can be here shopping in the morning, starting early in the morning here at Mr. Maple.
Now this year it's going to be on Memorial Day, and that's going to be May 29th of 2023. So I always like to let people know if you're watching this a year later, it may change a little bit, but that's our Mr. Maple Festival. That's our biggest open house of the year. It's going to be a fun time, guys. And I say this every time, but there's going to be more trees available at this open house than ever before at any of our previous open houses. We've got multiple greenhouses that weren't available before that we'll have open today. So be ready for that one. It's going to be a fun time on Memorial Day.
Guys, let's get started with today's 10 at 10. We're going to bring some heat with hot sauce.
All right, guys, we got hot sauce. Now, this is one of those heat seekers, which is a trademark series here at Mr. Maple. It's one of our flagship programs we do. We come out with hot blonde, maybe coming up in a minute, we'll see. And that led to a whole hot series. Now, hot sauce is actually a tree that was selected by world famous maple collector Masayoshi Yano in World Maple Park there in Japan. Now, Masayoshi Yano, world famous for Book for Maples, and he's got a litany of introductions. This one he sent to us, and it is an Olivianum X palmatum, and he asked us to put a name on it before getting into the trade. And we already had hot blonde, so hot sauce made perfect sense for the red. Full disclosure, this may become the red in the industry. Like, this is one of the most heat tolerant Japanese maples you can be growing in the deep south. That Acer Olivianum influence gives this one superpowers. It is basically, to most people's eye, a Japanese maple, but it's actually a hybrid with a Chinese maple from a very hot region, bringing that heat tolerance even up a little bit higher.
Guys, the original code name on this was Nakahara Beni A, and there was a sister seedling Nakahara Beni B. And again, Yano didn't want those actually out in the nursery trade once we talked to him. He wanted an actual cultivar name on it, so we went with hot sauce. And this plant just gives you some really nice red color for those people who want to have something that's a little more heat tolerant with that upright traditional Japanese maple shape and some good red color.
Guys, it's a fast grower, being an Acer Olivianum, pairs excellently with hot blonde, hint, hint. They make an excellent accompaniment, and this is a tree I think you're going to want to add to your garden. Not only is it durable and heat tolerant, this is a fire engine red in the fall, so you get many seasons of interest on this one, but durability is one of its utmost qualities. It is super durable, and it's going to be one of those reds that I think you're just going to see more and more in the trade. This one isn't going away. Hot sauce is awesome. All right, guys, so from hot sauce, it's back. We've got hot blonde. This is the one that started it all.
Guys, hot blonde was an Acer Olivianum chance seedling that we'd found. And this thing just gives you some bright, bright, bright yellow color. You give this tree more sunlight, it's going to get even brighter color, and it gets more and more bright yellow as the season goes on. My favorite time of the season, though, is right after the olive color leaves the spring, color in the early spring, and you've got a yellow leaf with a red border. It's spectacular.
This one soaks up the heat, guys. In hotter climates, it's even faster growing. It's not uncommon for this one to put on 1.5 feet of growth a year. It can rival Cereus some years for its speed, especially in hotter areas. I have people growing this one on the Battery in Charleston, and it is leaping. It loves that heat. You get some kind of cool apricot pink new growth on this one in the early spring too, so you get a little bit over top of that yellow. It is a durable plant that will really get some intense kind of hot pink to red fall color going on it as well. Excellent tree. You know the story on this one. I got extra credit for naming this after my wife, Amy. You got to add you a hot blonde to your garden. It is an awesome plant, and one of our best introductions we'll ever do here at Mr. Maple.
Now, I felt really cool when we'd sent this to Talon Buchholz, and he was sending us photos back of it in the fall color.
Right.
And being like, guys, have you seen this tree in fall color? And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good.
When he gets fired up about an introduction, you know you hit.
Yeah, and this is a great plant. It's a Japanese maple hybrid that kind of prefers the sunlight. So the more sunlight you give this, the faster growing and the more yellow the selection will be.
Multiple members there of the Heat Seeker series. You know, a great way to save is to add 2 trees to a cart. These won't last long, but we've got Hot Sauce and Hot Blonde kicking things off for you here today, guys.
Guys, we gave you 2 Japanese maple selections that are really cool. Next, we've got a selection that came from South Korea. This is Acer palmatum Pungkil.
Oh man, I love this tree. One of the darkest red of any of the lunar lobulum style Japanese maples. Watch our full video on what's a lunar lobulum Japanese maple. It's a great deep dive into what this strap leaf type foliage is all about. I love to pair this with yellow threads. I mean, put this near yellow threads, you're gonna have the same strap leaf like growth, but dark red bamboo like foliage.
Yeah, this plant just gives something extra. I like it because it's really unusual. A lot of the lunar lobulum selections won't be curved at the very back of the leaf as well, and this one often is. It gives it a unique texture. The foliage almost makes you think of an upright lace leaf. And this is a fairly vigorous upright tree that gives you some of that dark colors with a really airy feel.
Awesome for a planter. You can get that bamboo-like texture and quality, that airy feel of the Asian garden, but in a smaller overall plant. That's not only gonna have spring interest, but summer interest and fall color. So you're getting everything here going on in one plant. I like these are kind of multi-stem sometimes, so you get that denser approach to it, keeps them a little bit smaller than something like Biniotaki. Now, typically this one, even much darker foliage than Biniotaki.
Guys, next we've got Acer palmatum Wakehurst Pink. This is a selection that is really unusual and different. In the springtime, you can get some sort of pink salmons on the new growth, but down here in the older growth, it's really like a bluish green
Right.
that then goes to a dark green later on the summer.
It's really one of its most understated qualities is that it kind of has that mint bluish kind of color going on. It's a weird color amongst Japanese maples. Like, I always look at it and go, is it supposed to do that? Like, every season it catches my eye, and it's always just a different shade of green than everything else there in the landscape. Now, that new growth, you get some shrimp peak going on. You also get some exquisite pink fall color. That fall color is some of the most premium pink you'll see on any Japanese maple.
Yeah, the fall color. I remember walking around Larry Stanley's garden and seeing that in fall color, and I was like, what in the world is it? And then as we got up close, Wakehurst Pink just really showing off with good fall color. I mean, this is a fun Japanese maple that's gonna give you that summery feel during the summer with green, with some pinkish new growth across it, and then some great fall color, making it an excellent tree for traditional Japanese gardening.
Now, if you want some diversity, we're talking about a lot of pairings here today. Put this with that Pungkil, guys. This looks so weird because of that off-color green, that dark shoots of Pungkil. I mean, we couldn't align them up any better on the table here. It looks so uniquely different than about anything you pair it with, but especially dark reds. All right, now next on the table, we've got another heat-tolerant classic here from the south. We didn't name this one, though. We've got Purple Smoke, Acer palmatum binishishi.
This is a selection by Harold Johnston. He was from Tallahassee, Alabama, and he was one of the founding fathers of Japanese maples in the South. He decided he was going to grow Japanese maples. He made some amazing selections. The rumor goes about the story behind finding this is Harold was walking through a garden center and saw some seedlings, red Japanese maple seedlings being sold, and it had a sport growing on the side of it. Well, he bought that tree, took it home, grafted it, and it became binishishi.
Now, we did an interview with Dr. Tilt and Ken Rogers. They mentioned this being one of their favorite heat-tolerant Japanese maples for Alabama. You know, it's one that's been tested in the test of time in Alabama in that high heat condition. Binishishi is durable, it's colorful, it brings lime green over top of purple. You know, maybe the name, maybe me thinking like Purple Haze. I look into this tree, I start hearing some Hendrix music. That's what I hear. It's got that extra quality. You can cue the beginning of Purple Haze. I hear guitar riffs to this. It has that swirling, that psychedelic quality. I mean, this is a Jimi Hendrix kind of plant.
What I like about this tree is every leaf is different. The variegation can have that lime green just swirling with sickle-shaped leaves, or just some margins in there, or it can have some of that dark red, unusual like sport-like variegation around the edge of the leaves. This plant is a photographer's delight.
Right.
It's a plant that's going to have every spot you look at the tree look very different, but it all matches together and is so uniquely beautiful. It deserves a place in the garden.
Great tree to add right here, and really lovely plant, Acer palmatum binishishi.
Guys, next we've got Acer palmatum sumagaki. Sumagaki, red fingernails. I mean, that's what this translates as, because this plant looks like each single lobe has been dipped in red paint. This plant is outstanding for spring interest. It gives you a traditional Japanese maple leaf with something a little bit extra.
Now, Sumagaki not only looks like it has red fingernails, one of the defining characteristics with this against Tsuma Beni is that the leaves kind of curl down, so it kind of looks like a little hand to begin with. It looks like a little claw with some fingernails on it. So I think it even gives it, a more ornamental trait, because not only do you get that dipped, it kind of focuses on it because of that leaf shape. So it makes it super interesting. You kind of get a little twist to the leaf going on there. Oranges to reds in the fall color. Guys, this is a spectacular plant to be growing in the container garden. Now, you can put it in the landscape, but I love bringing this one back into the container garden. You get a multi-stemmed upright that you can enjoy intense spring interest on. Because of that purple and that lime green to almost yellowish color, it pairs well with everything going on in the landscape. It's a showstopper, though. It's one of those trees, people are going to talk about it when they see it in the landscape. It's one that catches the eye. And again, it's one of those that kind of evokes an animal feel to it. That fingernail with that hand-like shape kind of gives it a otherworldly quality. It feels like something that's a little bit more creature-like.
It is. Now, for your best growth rate, give sumagaki some protection from the hot afternoon sun. This is one that'll be much slower growing and maybe get some burn on the foliage if you're growing it in full sun in hotter climates especially. Sumagaki, though, it's got a unique shape. It gets almost as wide as it is tall, and with the way those leaves open up, coming down with cupped foliage almost downward with the red nails, this is a unique Japanese maple that will really stand out if you're a maple collector and you've got a bunch of Japanese maples.
One of the reasons I love it so much for containers is just what he was saying, that width, but also you can kind of play around with getting it in some early morning sun, late day shade to kind of hold that fingernail quality later into the season. Guys, I keep saying pair it, but put this with your binishishi in. I mean, whoa, different textures, different colors. That gets my heart going. All right, so next up, we've got an awesome lace leaf here for you guys. This one is Chantilly Lace.
Guys, this one will put a smile on your face. This one keeps putting on pink-red new growth over top of this lime green. Give this tree sunlight for its best show. We've got a gorgeous one at Hillstone Arboretum, and it is a rock star out there. Every time people see it, we have to make sure that we've got to make sure we've got them in stock because they sell out really quickly. We're probably messing up putting this one on the 10 at 10 right before open house, because people are going to see that at the garden tour at open house, and there's a line for Chantilly Lace after that tour. Yeah, there is. We've had this one featured in Home and Gardens magazine, or maybe Country Gardens magazine, and it quickly became one that sold out super fast every time we list it. This is such a cool lace leaf Japanese maple with that cascading umbrella habit, but keeps giving you a lot of unique colors. Guys,
I think we went from Jimi Hendrix, I think Chantilly Lace, maybe Big Bopper. I think that was the guy with the Chantilly Lace song. If you're a music fan, this is one you got to have in the garden. It is music to the garden. I'm a huge fan of Chantilly Lace. One that was an introduction by Red Maple Nurseries. We've got a whole deep dive here, 2 parts on Red Maple Nurseries. We've got a full podcast with Dick Wolf's apprentice and Billy Schwartz. And we're actually going to have Billy here in person this summer. He's writing a book on witches' brooms. So we'll be sure to get him in for some top 5s and some more interviews.
Guys, we've got Ginkgo biloba Snow Cloud. This is perhaps one of our most sought after ginkgos we do. It has a unique cloud-like variegation that is unlike almost any other ginkgo. And the great thing about this tree is it doesn't revert. We've never seen this tree revert. Ginkgos are amazing. They're salt tolerant, heat tolerant, pollution tolerant, drought tolerant. I mean, they're easy to grow in zones 3 through 9. I mean, awesome tree. And then you get that extra ornamental appeal with Ginkgo biloba Snow Cloud.
I think about this tree. We were speaking in Grand Rapids, Michigan earlier this year to a large group of people, and we talked about the ornamental obsession. We talked about plants. We did 2 talks. We actually talked once about maples. We talked once about other cool plants with maples. We're in a room of about maybe 300, 350 people. Guys, when this one came on the screen and it looked just like it does here today, there were audible gasps. It's fun when you see people's reaction to something. I mean, people gasped. It was like, oh my gosh, what is that? I would say Snow Cloud is my favorite Ginkgo. It's a crazy one. Put this with binishishi in. Holy smokes, that is crazy. Snow Cloud has that white swirling kind of variegation in it. You can get lost in this one taking pictures of it. It's so fun for its color palette. It's a great one for containerized gardening too, but you will get faster growth rate in the ground with a little bit of sun. Early morning sun's best to kind of pick up that growth rate. Makes a small tree to around 6 feet tall, even in 10 years. Distinctly a male Ginkgo, but guys, what a fun one to be growing. I mean, it's one, you know, these were seasoned plant people. These were people at a plant conference, and you're talking about just loud gasps when they saw this. It was like, what has happened? And it's one that always kind of gets that emotional reaction. Ginkgo biloba, Snow Cloud.
Now guys, I can't ever talk about ginkgos without also talking about how much they love lime. Lime allows them to get a more alkaline soil so they can take up water and nutrients more efficiently. It's not a fertilizer, but it allows it to take up the fertilizers and the water more efficiently. So it allows your ginkgo to get established fairly quickly. We've got whole videos on that, but if you've got getting one of these today, make sure to give your ginkgo some lime out in the landscape and garden because it really helps them get established.
And of course, great yellow fall colors. All right, guys, we got a Makawa type on the 10 at 10, backed by popular demand. We've got Japanese Princess.
Guys, Japanese Princess is one of the original selections that has this unique color on a Makawa-like Japanese maple.
Spoiler alert, we did a podcast on our top 50 Japanese maples by our friend Talon Buckholtz. I won't tell you which one, but this was in the top 3. It was actually number 1. Anyway, one of the best Japanese maples you can ever be growing. This one leaves out in the spring that intense pink, and you can see why it's a lot of people's favorite variant of Makawa Yetsubusa. It is everything you want in a dwarf compact form. I would compare the growth rate of this more of tattoo than Makawa. It's a little slower growing than Makawa in that 3 to 4 foot range, even in 10 years. But that ruffled leaf gives it something extra. That high pink intensity is so special. Now this one can change a bit depending on where you're growing it. Another awesome candidate for the container garden and one of the most highly sought after Japanese maples we do. If you're putting this in a lot of sun, guys, you're gonna get more intense pinks. Now, if you're in a hotter area and you need to be giving this one some more protection, you're still gonna get some crazy colors. It's a light pink with more of a blonde, and it fades to kind of a more of a blonde even in full sun, midsummer. Crazy color patterns on this. I've had orangey red in the fall as well. Really fun palettes on it, but one of the best Makawa variants.
Now, Japanese Princess is an awesome, awesome plant. One of the ways to distinguish this one from Mayday often is it has a little more of a curled foliage to it, even in the later parts of the season when the colors, spring colors may be different. You do have to be careful because I do know some nurseries that relabel them based on their spring color, which
it can be a little yellow some seasons.
It can be a little yellow in some crazy different weather patterns. So you got to be careful. If it's got more of that curled foliage, Japanese Princess. So
really large leaf, really ruffled. I mean, it's got a uniqueness to it. Once you learn the leaf of Japanese Princess, it's really easy to pick out, especially on some of the more mature growth. Awesome pairing though with Mayday. I mean, I've got this in a Makawa garden with Mayday. Don't sleep on Japanese Princess. They will sell out quickly today. Always a popular one back in stock. Acer palmatum, Japanese Princess.
Now also try to push the light a little bit with Japanese Princess. The more sunlight you give it, the pinker it's going to give you some spring interest on it.
All right, guys, last but not least, Brian got a hold of my arm. He twisted it. He said, you get red Filigree Lace back on the website right now. So my arm's sore. He's done had me in a headlock. He was like, the people want red Filigree Lace. Get it back to them. Guys, red Filigree Lace is back. I got Brian to let go of my arm. So get this one so I don't get beat up anymore.
Guys, red Filigree Lace is a classic weeping red Japanese maple. The thing I love about this plant is it is one of the slowest and smallest growing Japanese maples, but it holds its color so exceptionally well in the landscape, making it a great tree for even shadier spots where something like a red dragon or a Tamukiyama might go a little greener. This one keeps that red color even in those darker spots.
It's very hard to capture. Brian's got some great shots of this one this year. It's extremely slow growing. Maybe one of the slowest growing of any of the lace leaves at like 3x3, even in a 10-year period, maybe even 3x4, but not a lot of height. It is a small, slow grower. It has some of the most intricate foliage. That's the part that's hard to capture. That foliage is almost spider-like. It's lacy. It's the most delicate foliage you'll see, but it's a durable plant. I mean, this one can go in a good bit of sun up to zone 8. And like Tim was saying, I don't know of any red lace leaf that holds its color better in intense shade than red filigree. It really brings it for that shadier spot, making it a great candidate for container gardening as well. You know, I've been talking a lot about pairings here today, guys. The texture contrast with snow cloud and red filigree, whew, that's perfect. That is everything you want in a garden. Just put those two together in containers, call it a day.
So here's a little pro tip. We do these on high grafts for a reason, and that's so you can plant a ground cover that has a non-invasive root system around the base of it. When you do that, you can get something that has some good color contrast with the foliage that can really allow you to see the intricacies and the heavily dissected foliage of red filigree lace. Now, if you take this out there and you just plant it somewhere that's got like some dark mulch down below it, this red may get lost because those leaves are so thinly dissected. So if you plant, you know, something like creeping Jenny or something underneath it, you're gonna have a great color contrast to really go out and enjoy such a Japanese maple with such fine, delicate foliage.
This foliage is so intricate, guys. You have to kind of put your hand behind it to photograph it. It's so interesting. We use Angelita sedums a lot in Mom's garden to kind of showcase some of these. Heck, I say put it in a pot, put your snow cloud in a pot, push them up close together. Woo, that's gonna look incredible. Some great sizes in these right now too, guys. This is a slow grower. We've got some massive red filigrees. They're gonna be, you know, already a great size for the container garden. My Aunt Patty has one of these in a heavy shade garden on her patio. Aunt Patty has it on her patio. It looks incredible, even in the dark shade. She loves this one because it doesn't green up. It's still got all the color going on there, and it just looks awesome. She's got a light colored pot, like a kind of a cream colored pot, and it looks picturesque every time I look at it.
Guys, these are 10 of the 20 items getting listed today. Check out your emails for the other 10 that are getting listed. Guys, we work hard each and every week to really bring you interesting Japanese maples. Each and every week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mr. Maple, these trees are getting listed, or some other cool selections that we've worked hard to make available for you.
Guys, remember, nobody else is bringing you 7 days a week Japanese maple content, from top 5s to podcasts to 10 at 10s and all in between. We've got daily content going on here on the Mr. Maple Show. We get fired up about Japanese maples here. We're a little crazy. Admittedly, we love this kind of stuff. We hope that you'll join our community by subscribing and being part of that fun we have here with plants. It's something we're passionate about for sure. And so if that's something you like and you think we earned it, definitely subscribe. We've got a full community in that chat going on. I call them the Maple Mafia. They used to be our old eBay name, so I'm bringing it back. The Maple Mafia is crazy in that live chat. Those guys are so much fun. They make it super interesting, whether the conversation's following what we're doing or not. There's always a great conversation going on during our live chat.
And if you're in that live chat today, before you leave, smash that like button. We'd really appreciate it. If you're watching that later, hit that like button. We think y'all are awesome, especially our international community, people who watch each and every week, can't even buy any of the Japanese maples from us, but you just love hearing about all these cool plants we're talking about.
And guys, don't forget, we're weeks away now from the biggest maple event of the year. It's the Mr. Maple Festival. You're going to see more maples in one place than I think you will anywhere else on the planet when you come here. Diversity of cultivar, diversity of type. They're going to be, close to 15 to 20 greenhouses open, full of exciting Japanese maples. Guys, we've not only have 1 gallons, we're going to have 3 gallons, 7 gallons, and a litany of rare plants in 10 gallons. So you're going to want to be part of that Mr. Maple Festival that's coming to you this Memorial Day 2023. That's going to be the 29th of May. It's my wife's birthday, so tell Amy hello when you come check out. We're going to have a blast, and I hope you'll be a part of that with us.
Guys, thanks so much. Again, make sure you find us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a subscribe there for our weekly podcast. Take care.
God bless.
And have an awesome day.